Uh, Good day, everyone. My name is Paul. I am the Executive Vice President here at Axiom, and I am going to let you know that you're in the right place. The webinar today is Smart Importing for AutoCAD, where you will learn to link Microsoft Excel and Word data into AutoCAD with perfect formatting. Once again, my name is Paul Kuva. I'm the Executive Vice President here at Axiom, and we make third-party productivity tools for AutoCAD, Revit, and MicroStation. At Axiom, we've been serving the CAD community for over 30 years. We help a variety of different design professionals from small shops to Fortune 5 companies. We have over 30 tools spanning AutoCAD, Revit, and MicroStation. And I would like you to realize the same benefits that many of our other clients have over the years. Today we have a variety of resources. Mr. Frederick Keniston will be with us. He's been with Axiom for 30 years. He will be available to answer your questions on chat. He is the director of our technical and quality assurance divisions. Around these parts, he's known as the Oracle. He has many answers to a variety of questions pertaining to Axiom tools. And today's webinar our presenter will be Lynn Allen. She needs no introduction in the AutoCAD community. She has presented at Autodesk University as the MC for the last 10 years. She has over 500 training videos online. She has presented in so many countries at this point. She has an active video column on Catalyst magazine and has authored several books on CAD. So with no further ado, I want to turn the floor over to Lynn.
All right, thank you. All right, so you guys can see me. Thanks so much for coming out and taking times out of your busy schedule to check out this tool. So I was actually thinking that I do all these videos on AutoCAD, but I have never done a webinar on any other tool that works with AutoCAD. That's how much I believe in this tool. So I'm all in. I think you're gonna really enjoy this. So if you've ever been in a situation where you've needed to bring in an Excel spreadsheet or a Word doc into AutoCAD and it didn't go as planned, it didn't go smoothly. You wanted to bring it in with perfect formatting, and then of course you wanted to be able to edit it inside of AutoCAD. Or you wanted to be able to actually edit the spreadsheet and have it update inside of AutoCAD. You wanted to edit the Word doc, have it edit and update inside of AutoCAD. And once again, it didn't go as planned. You're going to absolutely love this tool. And I know there's other tools out there. This one's like the best one. Much better than also trying to do it with vanilla AutoCAD as it stands. So I'm going to walk you through it. You're going to see how easy it is. Until I'm all in. I'm very excited about showing this to you today. So here we have, very simply, we have an Excel spreadsheet, and it's a big spreadsheet. Look how long it is, okay? It's not just your everyday simple little tiny little spreadsheet. There's a lot going on. There's some formatting in here. We're gonna go and we're gonna like jazz it up later, but it's a serious spreadsheet. Now, it's very, very simple to do this. You can just grab whatever lines of the spreadsheet that you want, or you can grab the whole darn thing if you want. We're going to grab the whole thing. We're going all in, and then it's simply a matter of copying that to the clipboard. All right, that's step one. And now I'm going to go into AutoCAD. Step two, you will have loaded the Axiom tools. You will get this very cool tab on the ribbon, and these are all the tools for the Axiom, the Microsoft importer. All right. Not a lot going on, very, very simple. You don't have to learn a bunch of ins and outs to use this tool. Now, what makes sense? Paste clipboard, right? We just copied it to the clipboard. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a paste. It does take a few seconds. I have found that when I'm doing this GoToWebinar, it takes a few extra seconds. I happen to be inside of AutoCAD 2020, but this works on many, many, many different releases of AutoCAD if you're not up on AutoCAD 2020. Oh, there it goes. And it also works on Civil 3D, by the way. Now, before I paste it, there are some options that I have control over. You have control over the text height. We're actually going to talk about that a little bit later. You have control over whether you not want to paste this into columns or not. You want to split this up. All right, so you saw how long that was. That's not going to fit into this title block, right? So I'm going to need to split it for sure. And I love this. Update automatically when the drawing file opens. So if somebody changes a spreadsheet, you change it, I change it, anybody changes it. The next time you open the drawing file, it will automatically update this spreadsheet inside of AutoCAD. You don't even have to think about it. You can turn that off if you want. Why would you want to turn it off? I like that. All right, let's go ahead and place this into place. There is another option on there, show the contents while pasting. I don't think you need to. You can turn that on if you want to. I prefer just to work with these rectangles, but that's up to you. All right, so let's zoom out just a little bit. You'll see it's splitting it because I told it to do that. And I want to get it just so it's laid out nice and neat. And that looks pretty good. I'm in. All right, let's zoom in. Kind of landed over on that tree. That's okay. You will see, look at that. It's beautiful. Look at that. It brought it all in the way it should be. All nice, very, very simple, very, very easy, right? I love easy. Now I'm going to go back over to the spreadsheet. I'm going to close this because we're going to edit in a second. I just want you to see I've got nothing up my sleeve. It's telling me I have a bunch of stuff pasted on the clipboard. That's okay. Let's go back over to, so I'm in AutoCAD, right? Very, very straightforward. Now what do I want to do? I want to make some edits. That's the other thing that's really hard to do inside of AutoCAD, right? So what am I going to do? Go to the second tool, edit source. That makes sense. I'm going to click on edit source. You saw that I just closed the spreadsheet. It opens it back up very, very quickly. I don't have to go find it. Very, very straightforward. And let's have some fun in here. Let's do some stuff. Maybe you have cells that are filled. I know that some of you do. Let's go ahead and fill some cells. Why not? Because we can. Let's make some changes to some text. Let's change some colors. Let's change what it says. Let's make some blue. Let's change, let's come over here. This tool is by a company called Axiom. So let's change it. So it says Axiom. Let's change the color of this one too. We'll make that one blue. And let's change a whole bunch of cells actually. Let's make this big so you can see it. Let's go ahead and drag all these guys down. Let's change the color. How about purple? I like purple too. And let's do a little bit more. All right, so I'm going to copy 5 and 6. Let's go ahead and do a right click and let's copy these guys. And then, did I get them both? I don't think I did get them both. I want both of them. Let's copy. We want 2. It's not going to make it easy. We want it to be a little more than just one. It's going to come down here and I'm going to paste that. So and look at it, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4, 5. Clearly, I pasted those numbers. So we're going to remember that. So when we go back into AutoCAD. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do a save. You see I saved it. Let's go back into AutoCAD. What am I going to do now? I'm going to update it, right? Because nothing's changed. You can see nothing changed, nothing's filled. Doesn't say Axiom over here. Nothing has been updated. Maybe you don't want to update it at this point. So if I leave the drawing to come back in, is it going to update? Of course it is because we told it to, but I want to see it right now. There's a couple different places where you can update it. You can go to list of links and you'll see update right there. Or you can go to manage link and you'll see update. Let's do it here. Doesn't make any difference. Give it another few seconds. It's churning. The hamsters are going in the background. It's thinking about it. It gives me just enough time to take a sip of my coffee. That's some good coffee. And there it is. Let's take a look. Let me go ahead and close this up. Did it do it? There's my Axiom in blue. And 2, there's my filled cells. And you know, the tricky part is that we added extra lines, right? Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4, and 5. Oh yeah, it did it, no problem. I love it, I love it, I love it. Now, the only other stuff I'm gonna show you, if I go back over to manage link, let's say somebody decides to move your file. You know that happens. It's kind of like an XREF, right? It happens with XREFs too. It's no problem. You can come right in here underneath manage links and you can tell it where it went to. So that part's easy. What if you give this file to somebody else? Do you have to give them the Excel spreadsheet? No, you don't. This is self-contained, so you don't have to worry about that. What you see in here is what they get, which is fantastic. So don't worry about that either. You can also come in here and you can add additional rows in here if you want to manually. I prefer to do it in the spreadsheet, but that's completely up to you. All right. You'll also see edit sources here. Everywhere, it's everywhere. So very, very simple and very straightforward. So I'm actually going to jump back over to the PowerPoint and I'm going to introduce you to the master of the Microsoft Office importer for AutoCAD. He's going to take you through settings. I could take you through settings, but I like to believe that you want to get it from the man, from the master. He's going to tell you all the ins and outs. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Aaron. All right.
Hi, thanks, Lynn. That was fantastic.
Sure. Well, thank you.
So,
I'm going to disappear.
yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm out. I'll come back.
Settings. And the thing about settings in Microsoft Office Importer is that the thing's
Let me
simple.
turn it over to you. Hi, guys.
Yeah,
Do you have it?
give me the screen. I'll share my screen now. So yeah, so you guys will see my AutoCAD. Lynn's in 2020. We wanted to have a couple of versions today, so I'm in 2019. The thing, our approach to settings in Microsoft Office Importer is we want to keep it simple. No matter what, we want you to be able to just get in, do your importing, you know, your formatting is handled for you perfectly, but your CAD standards are followed. So we have settings so you can follow, you know, set up your CAD standards, and because they vary, and we have, you know, we give you choices when choice makes sense, and when it just makes sense to do the right thing, we just do the right thing. And that's something we've dialed in over 20 years with this tool. As Paul mentioned when we started, we, you know, we support, and we specifically support versions of this tool for MicroStation, AutoCAD, Revit, and you know, they're all fantastic. So here's the settings in the tool, and good. Everybody should be able to see that. So here's the settings in here. Awesome. So the thing with the settings are, you know, you make your settings before you do an import, and then everything just comes in right. So you just set it up once and you leave it alone. We have separate settings for text and for borders, and I'll show you some of the top settings for both and for some other stuff. So for color, you know, for text color, you know, you can get the color you need, or if you're just having things controlled by Excel, which some folks do, you can leave that off and they'll come in from Excel. For font, you can choose the font for your import. Anything available to AutoCAD is available in here. And then, or you can use the same fonts as the source document. Folks are also going in this direction and have been for some years, you know, using TrueType fonts and just having it come, and whatever's in Excel or Word is what is used in the DWG. And then for size is fantastic. So we, in here, you set up, you know, different scales that you might want to work at, because we have folks that are, you know, some folks are importing into the same thing all the time, and then other folks are jumping around and they're working at different scales, working for different projects, disciplines, different clients, and so they need to be able to predefine a bunch of different scales, and that's what you do here. You can, you know, you can hit add, name it whatever you want. Like I'm going to call mine 1/8 inch equals a foot. So there you go. But then how do you set it up? Well, all you got to do is hit calculate, and you go, okay, what is the size of the text that's coming in from Excel? Because we want to get that into the right drawing unit. So you go, okay, maybe I've got 11-point text in my spreadsheet or my Word document. Then you come in here, how many drawing units do you want that to be? And we figure it out. We do that for you. You can lock the height and the width right together. You get that all set up, and you're done. Now, as far as size goes,
I wish, sorry, Lynn jumps in, but I love this part. I wish AutoCAD had this. Why don't we have this in AutoCAD?
Thank you. And that's why we do that, is we look for areas where AutoCAD could be improved, you know, and that's what we always do. We're just always looking and listening and talking to our users about things, and we're really particular about what makes it into this product, like all this calculate stuff. It's really critical to us that actually fit the way people want to work, and not just work some way that we picked in 1996, and that's just the way it is, you know. So now that's text. I'm going to go here. By the way, there are also some fine-tuning things here for like exactly how much, you know, how big your Excel cells are, right? That kind of stuff. So under borders, you have the same type of things that you have for text, right? Color, weight, style, layer, and you know, you can define that stuff. by layer, by cell, by block, and that's fine. Some folks have all other things going on like diagonal border lines, and you can support those. Lynn had hers set to import filled cells, which is why those yellow cells came in. You can also, this is a brand new feature that's coming out really soon, where you can import patterns, and here you can choose your pattern color and your pattern density down there. Fine. And again, I'm showing you these settings, but it's really important to remember that you just set these things one time and then you leave them alone. And in fact, we've got it set up so that once you get your settings all dialed in, and this is what people usually do, one person will dial in the settings and then just share them with the whole team, and then the whole team has the right settings. So odds are, there's 20 people using this for every one person that sets up the settings for their group. So, a lot of you folks don't even need to worry about this stuff because there's someone else in your group that'll set everything up. So split paste into columns, that's how Lynn was able to do what you see here in my DWG. You've got it, broken up in this case into 3 pieces, but it doesn't matter. It'll fit whatever you need. Repeating the header rows. So at the top of that import, you've got these headers being repeated. I don't have these in my spreadsheet, and neither did Lynn, except one time at the beginning. So these guys get repeated, and you can tell it how big they are and how much stuff to repeat. Then cool, if you want to group everything together like this, all these 3 guys could be grouped together, then that's what this setting is. If you're bringing in word paste, our clients primarily use this for Excel, but our Word support is fantastic too. And folks that use it for Word want to be able to, almost always want to be able to control how wide the page comes in. Exactly where does that wrap? For Excel, it doesn't matter because it's a table. It's tabular information coming from Excel. But with Word, it's just a piece of paper. Where do you want it to fit? What fits your needs in your drawing? You're bringing in general notes, code, stuff, spec sheets, whatever, from Word, you really have good control over that. And that's when the setting that Lynn mentioned about show contents while pasting, she just sticks with the rectangles. That makes total sense because for Excel, usually that's fine. But if you're bringing in Word and you have big bulleted numbered lists and you want them to come in and end at an exact point, and the next column that it starts over here is not cutting into the middle of a bulleted list, you can show contents while pasting and see live every letter, every word that's coming in, and totally lay it out the way you want it. That whole thing is just smooth and obvious when you're doing it. Now for linking, look, 99.9% of the time you just leave this alone. You want a relative path, just like XREFs. You're almost always better off with a relative path. The one tiny time, every million years that you might need an absolute path, where we save the link to the spreadsheet that you've brought in. The only time to do that is in the rare case where you're moving your DWGs, but you're not moving your spreadsheets. Like if you have a workflow where your DWGs are getting moved around, then you would check absolute path and do them that way. That's why we have it, because 1 in a million folks need it, and it doesn't hurt anybody to have it here. It's just kind of out of the way. And if you have things, if you're going absolute path, you can choose whether you're doing a drive letter style path that we save, or if you guys like UNCs, all that stuff's handled for you. And you don't have to worry about this stuff, but when you need to make a choice, we give you control. But when you're just using it every day, it's the stuff Lynn showed you. There's nothing to worry about. We update on DWG Open, right? So let's move that over here. We update on DWG Open, and we only update imports that need it. Like if the spreadsheet didn't change, we're not going to do an unnecessary update. And that's, we never do unnecessary updates. But now you might, in your work, want to use the program a little differently than somebody that sits next to you. Not everybody's the same. Not everybody's in the same situation, doing the same things in AutoCAD. So if you don't need this stuff automatically updated when you open the file, but other people do, then just set it to not even check for updates. It saves you a couple of seconds on open. If you sometimes want it, you can set it to ask you on open. And if you always just want it updating, which is what most folks do 99% of the time, just leave it here on update all automatic paste, without asking. Again, it only updates the ones that really need it. So now here under list of links, this is a box, Lynn was in there briefly, I think, where you can control what happens in another box called list of links. Let me show you. So here, a list of links shows you all your imports that are in this one DWG. And this is really cool if you do multiples. If you just do one, you're fine. But if you do a lot, it's nice to see them here, do stuff to them. Like you can hit edit source while you're in here. That'll open up that spreadsheet. You can see what it's linking to, the Excel worksheet name and stuff, whether it's out of date. You can update it. Mine's you'll see your Word docs here and your spreadsheets. And in here, you've got these buttons, but you can also just double click. So if I double click on this, what does it do? I can have it zoom extents, or I can have it edit source and do some other stuff. That's what that setting is here under list of links. I've got it set to edit source because if I see something when I'm in CAD that I want to change, I want it to be as easy as possible to get that spreadsheet open. And so being able to double click on that list is really great. So that's that. And again, to show you where you would save those settings, you go File, Save Settings As, and once one person dials in those settings for your whole group, you just share them with everybody, and nobody ever has to think about it again, from text size, fonts used, scale, all the way to exactly how many rows you usually have in your Excel headers and stuff like that. Everything you can dial it in, and then it's just super simple for everyday users. That's it.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you, thank you. But I just want to know what's in the background. What's behind you?
Oh, that's Paul's birthday pinata.
Oh, it's Paul's birthday. Oh, he gave it to you for your
Paul's
birthday?
birthday. No,
Oh, it's for his birthday.
It was for his, and I kept it because it was fantastic.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that everybody who was listening to you speak is wondering what was behind you. What kind of pinata?
Yeah.
And what kind of pinata is it? I don't think they can buy the tool until they know.
I think it's a bull.
It's a bull.
I think it's a bull. I think it's not a goat.
Oh, good. I'm glad it's not a goat
Yeah.
pinata. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Right.
Top shelf
All right.
pinata.
So I am going to take control back,
Okay,
and
great.
we're going to bring Paul back.
Okay.
Paul's out having coffee. He's at Starbucks having coffee. There we go. Thank you very much, Aaron.
Surely.
Back to you, Paul.
Paul, you're muted, Paul.
Yeah.
You
so
just,
all right.
The whole discussion on the pinata, we lost him.
Oh yeah, it definitely threw me for a
He
loop.
didn't want to see that pinata again.
So every time I see the presentation on this tool, I'll tell you it just reminds me of a lot of different feedback that I've gotten from clients over the years where they've brought this in and they have really just purchased it for one office, and before you know it, the next office, and it just seems to just grow within a company. I've seen it used a lot in small shops, and I've also seen it used in large, some of the top engineering firms in the world.
I've seen that too, folks. And Paul, folks tend to want to do their own imports, right?
Yeah.
And so, they don't want somebody else doing their imports for them. They want them done perfectly their way. And so everybody wants a copy.
Exactly. And for those of you who have taken the time and took a look at this, we do have a similar tool for those of you that use Revit. And by any stretch of the imagination, if somebody uses MicroStation, we have the tool for MicroStation as well. So this tool has been definitely vetted and has gone through feedback from thousands of users. I think it's a good time now to field some questions.
Yeah, looks like we do have some questions. And Frederick is the boss here. Frederick the Oracle.
Yes, I am the Oracle. And I'm only the Oracle because I get accused of knowing everything. I don't know everything yet, but I'm still working on it.
Frederick's great.
You'll get there, Frederick.
Frederick refuses to be on camera, by the way, so we don't get to see him.
At least for now. Next time,
yes. That's how much of an Oracle he is.
All right, so actually we got the first question is from Patrick, and he asked if this tool might eventually be available for BriskCAD, and specifically BriskCAD for Mac.
Well, the odds of us making a Mac one, I think, are pretty low, but we do keep track of those kinds of questions really well in a database here, and we're attentive to those things, and requests are the main driver for all of our development improvements. So we really do things in the order that will help the most people the most. That's what gets done first. There's a good chance that we could bring this to BriskCAD. It's a little harder to bring it to BriskCAD for Mac, but anything's possible.
Okay, cool.
I know Patrick. Hi, Patrick.
Cool. And then I got a question from Neil, who I answered this in tab, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to address it too, Aaron. He says,
Yeah.
is the show contents option on when pasting with the Revit version of the program?
Oh, unfortunately, there's a Revit that's a great question. There's a Revit shortcoming that doesn't allow us to do that. We want that feature. And if it comes out, if it's available, if Revit will let us do it in 2021, on the back end, we're on it. It's really, that actually comes down to, like, we are able with the Revit version of this software to overcome major barriers. I mean, some folks that are here today might have come to a Revit, the Revit version of this webinar, and so they may have seen some of the stuff. We do things with text, like word text in Revit, that Revit itself you just can't do. But we're kind of up against, we kind of hit a wall there on the showing text wall pasting. Revit, what actually happens, I think, as I recall, is Revit is just too slow at it. There's so much text involved, and Revit doesn't really treat text as a super priority, I guess. But anyway, 2021, if it's there, if it's able to do it, we're on it. Whenever Revit allows it or makes it possible, we want that feature because
Okay,
it's really
cool.
good. It's a great feature, especially for guys that bring in Word.
Great. And also, Lynn, Patrick says hi back, by the way.
Hi back. I saw that there were a few requests for the Revit to do a webinar on Revit, and we did do that a couple of months ago. Can they get the recording of that? Do we have access? Is it posted somewhere?
Yeah, we can send out the recording, and also in addition, we can schedule one-on-ones for people in their teams with me or Aaron, as the case may be. For people that want to see the Revit version, we can totally do that. Happy to arrange such things.
You can
Awesome.
choose between the Oracle or the Master. You can pick.
Actually, for all those interested, I'd just like to quickly launch a poll.
Hey. Oh, okay. Well, while he does a poll, I'll say hi to Michael Seabrook. Hey, Michael.
Yeah, and if you'd
Are there
like,
any other questions? Are we done with questions?
Yeah, we have some more.
Yeah, just more questions. I just wanted to just quickly throw a poll up there real quick, because since we were speaking of today's webinar, if y'all just would fill this out, I'll leave it up for like a minute. And hey, this is how we can help you. Some folks may want a recording of today's webinar. I can send that to you. I could send you a recording of a former webinar that we did for Revit if you're interested. We can schedule a live private demonstration with Frederick or Aaron with you. And these are both senior level resources. They've both been here 20 years, so you could speak to your own particular projects. Also, you'll find in your handout section, the product information sheet is attached. And we could also send pricing. So those are some of the things that we can do. You could also go to our website at www.axiomint.com and get a free trial. No credit card is required, and we could help you install it. We can walk you through it. We can do presentations for your team as well as one-on-one presentations. Okay, I think that's about it for the poll, and I'll let you continue with the questions.
All right, Frederick, more questions, please.
Yeah, so let's see what else we got. We got actually a bunch more. So one I got here is, what if my data, and they didn't specify Word or Excel, so it could be either one, is too tall for my border?
Oh, okay, yeah, some of these come in before we get to that point in the demo, right? So, so that probably came in early.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, so if your paste if the information you're bringing in is too tall to fit in your border, you cut it up just like Lynn did, and it's really, really smooth and really obvious exactly what will fit in there. And then, folks, if you just have something that's so much that it won't fit inside your border, even cut up beautifully with our split paste into columns feature, then there are a number of other options for how to handle it.
Cool. And then this one, I think you addressed somewhat already, and it was related to, what if we add rows to the spreadsheet?
Oh, yeah, Lynn covered that. You can, if you add rows to the spreadsheet, you can have them automatically be added in the DWG whenever it updates. So you can just have it, automatically elastic. And if you have a situation where you don't want the rows to be added, you can also have it be fixed or static. And adding rows would go into like a paste, maybe in another layout if you're going in a layout, or in another DWG. By the way, you can paste into into paper space, or you can paste into model space. Both are handled perfectly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting more other questions actually from Sunny.
Okay.
Can you import the data in both model and paper space? Which I think was addressed, but maybe not.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, you can bring in either one, no problem. And Lynn was in a layout today, and you can totally do whatever works for you. Most folks do a layout, I guess, but yeah, it's a good one.
Okay, good. And then another question, this one is from Joe. Joe says, what about having the ability to save table/import styles? And then he adds, not all our Excel tables look the same, have different fonts, styles, etc.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, you can totally do that, though. People handle that different ways. One of the big ways is if you're working on a project where you're working in, I'll actually show you. Well, I thought I might show it, but in the settings where I showed you, you can create a file that has all your settings, and just save it as and share it with your group. In the same way, you can just load a different one. So you can set up all your settings for, a DOT project, and that's what you're running. And then you could also set up a file that has all your settings for like just your default for when a small client comes to you and they use your standards. You can totally have as many of those as you want. You can name them in a smart way and hop around in your settings fantastically.
Great.
All
and
really
then
easy.
Awesome. I got quite a few more actually. Let's see. Okay. Ravindra asks, how do you import total station data into AutoCAD directly?
No idea. Thank you.
Okay. We might need to, Ravindra, I'll get back with you directly on your question to maybe get some clarification on it so we can answer it more directly later.
Yeah, see if we fit in anywhere there. Absolutely. Cool.
Okay, cool. Well, Giovanni wants to see the previous Revit webinar, so we'll send him a link for that.
Okay.
Let me see, is this, the question from Rob is this placing a table or an OLay import?
Oh, good question. Here's what we do. It's neither, because both of them have shortcomings that we don't want to be on the bad end of. So we actually bring the data in as mtext and lines ourselves, so we have total control over the formatting. And that formatting engine is something that we've worked on since 1996, starting the Microvision version through to the AutoCAD and the Revit versions. They all have like a common back end. So when we improve like the formatting in one, it gets better in the whole family. And that's that's why we do that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And let me see what else we got. Wow, they keep coming here. How is this command? This is from Omar. How is this command different from the data link command?
First of all, it's more stable. And as probably you saw with Lynn, it's a lot easier to use. The thing with using it like a data link is, you can get stuff done, but it takes a while, and the results, everybody's mileage varies. My experience with that stuff is an instability, and honestly, there are too many choices for me. And I like choices, but when I'm in production, I just want something that makes most of the choices correctly for me and just ask me the questions that matter, that actually vary here and there. Like what layer do I want stuff on? How do I want my colors and fonts and text sizes handled? That might vary client to client, discipline to discipline. And the other stuff, I just want the machine to get it right for me. And that's our approach. And it's not really the approach of like Paste Special in AutoCAD.
Understood.
We focus on it, right? I'd like to give you a little more on that. That's because, we just deep dive on this stuff, and we've been doing that for, 96 means 23 years, which is just this tool. And Autodesk, fantastic. They make great tools. They're never gonna go crazy on importing like this, like we do. We focus on it.
All right. And then it looks like I still have a number of them. Wow.
Cool.
This Patrick
Maybe
asks
just like
again.
2 more. Maybe just
Yeah,
okay.
more.
Yeah. So this is just 2. I'll have to pick some here. So one is, if you update the spreadsheet in AutoCAD, will it update the Excel sheet?
Oh, the way that it works is our workflow is intentionally that we treat the spreadsheet as the master, because all kinds of problems get introduced when you're doing it inside AutoCAD, which is also why we don't go with bidirectionality. We're unidirectional intentionally, and that actually makes it considerably better 99% of the time. And the trade-off has really worked for us and for our clients all this time. We felt that not a trade-off, it's a choice, and it's we are always reevaluating our choices, and we've never gone back on that one. That's always been a good choice.
Great. And then one last one I'll have to pick here says, oh, on submittal, do I have to give my clients the linked Excel spreadsheets or Word docs?
That's a fantastic question. Lynn covered that a little bit. You don't. And that's important. I mean, if you've got formulas and stuff in your Excel spreadsheets that you don't want to share outside your company, you don't have to, because you do not have to provide your spreadsheets. We have the benefits of XREFs insofar as our imports stay up to date in the DWGs during your project, which is why you're getting the software to help you in your projects to efficiently produce great deliverables. And then when you submit, you don't have to provide the spreadsheet or Word document that is linked. The information is drawn in mText and lines inside of blocks in those, in model space or in paper space, and it's not going to disappear for the client. It's not going to give them any kind of plotting problems. It's just going to look great, and there's not even any preparation to do at submittal time.
Great.
It's just right all the time.
Awesome. Now, I do have a couple other questions, which because they just came in like under the wire here. Michael says, can I do my general notes from Word like in the M Word version of the software? 1996, I've been using it for that long.
Absolutely, Michael.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Absolutely, man. This one has the same features you're used to in the microStation version, and we're even adding some cool new stuff, which I can go over with you. We can go over with you separately and bring you up to date on any new stuff that we're doing. New things that we add to the AutoCAD version, we also add to the microStation version and the Revit version, which is cool new stuff.
Good. Other than importing spreadsheets, are graphics, charts, etc. imported?
We do have the ability, actually in the AutoCAD version, we don't bring anything in. We have almost no usage of our charts feature in the microStation version, so we haven't brought that to the Revit or the AutoCAD version, because what we really want are features that get used, and that's our focus. Simplicity, fantastic deliverables, and actual use, and focusing on things that people really use helps us to keep the tool simple, but still be super effective. So yeah, that's why we do what we do.
Okay, good. And that's all the questions, and we're gonna have to take, because I've got a few more, but we'll address those
absolutely.
directly.
Anyway, thanks to everybody for all those great questions. Those really appreciate it. It's great
Absolutely.
engagement.
And I just want to let everybody know that anyone who has asked a question will get a response. I'll tell you, I loved watching your presentation, Lynn and Aaron. It's always something interesting to see, that's for sure.
Yeah. What you said, Paul, if I can interject, got me thinking about free trials too.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up.
The thing is, look, we showed you stuff today, and it works well for us. It works well in the scenarios we talked about. But what I've found over the years is nothing. I mean, honestly, it took me, 20 years to figure this out, that it is not about me.
Correct.
It's about the guy that's actually using the software. It's about what they need. So whatever, good stuff for me, who cares? So we have a free trial for the software. Give it a try in your environment. Have your colleagues, have your friends use it. Talk about it. See how it works for you. And really what I believe is nothing else matters. Everything we show you today is fine. Gives you an idea that, this is probably pretty good. I mean, it looks good, but when you actually use it, we're confident that you'll see that it's probably even better than it seems.
I would concur, Aaron.
So try a trial. Use it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, there's no credit card required. We'll send it right to you, and we'll even help you install it. I think you're going to find it time well spent. Moreover, we have a similar tool for Revit, and we have other tools for AutoCAD as well. So I would encourage you to go to our website again, take a look around, see what you can learn, and take advantage of these resources. I know it's helped a tremendous amount of design professionals over the course of time. And I do want to thank you for spending time with us today, and I look forward to spending time with you again in the future.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.